I think the best way to begin a course on SQL Server is first to talk a little bit about what exactly is SQL Server. Now, if you're absolutely new to the product, that may be your number one question. So here's a simple one-sentence description of SQL Server. This is database storage technology based on the SQL programming language. Now that brings up another question, just what's the SQL programming language? Hang on just a second. Back in the early 90s, there was an explosion in the computer world. We had the standalone PC, the local area network, and so forth. And then all of a sudden, everybody realized, hey, wait a minute. What if we stored all of our data in one location and then everyone could get to it? The database was basically born. There's a lot of history here that goes back to Dr. E.F. Codd in the 1970s at the University of Texas and so forth, and we won't get into all that. But for now, just understand that this is a way to store data using database technologies in a standard way that we can get to our data, and the big thing is we know that our data is maintained safely and we're not going to lose it or it's not going to get confused or jumbled. Now, absolute bottom line here, okay? The way to pronounce this, you will hear it pronounced all kinds of ways. The correct way, as you see right here, is SQL, as if it was spelled out S-E-Q-U-E-L. This has to do with the history of it. You will hear people call it SQL. And that's technically not incorrect, but if you call it SQL, you may be tipping your hand to people that you're kind of new to the industry and don't really understand a whole lot about it. So just call it SQL and be done with it. Now, the most important thing that you need to understand about SQL Server is this is not access anymore. A lot of people have access knowledge, and if you do have access knowledge, that's a good thing because Microsoft has made a very definite decision to make SQL Server look and feel very access-like, especially with their administrative tools and so forth. And that's a good thing. But the architecture, the back end where your data is actually stored and maintained is absolutely totally different. In this situation, the database that you can build, the size or the amount of data that you can store is limited only by your hardware. So if you need more space, you don't have to go get a new product. You simply have to get out the checkbook and start buying more hardware, more disks, more RAID cabinets, that sort of thing, more processors, and on and on. Next, this is a database backend. One of the things you're going to notice, there is no front-end functionality with SQL Server. This exists only on a database server in the server room somewhere. So where does the front end come from? It comes from the mad scientist developer types who build the forms and the applications that connect to SQL Server using ADO or ADO.NET and those sorts of technologies. So that's what SQL Server is. It's a lone product. It's a database engine that lives in the server room. And what you're going to learn in this course is how to install it, how to begin to do the basics of creating databases and tables and so forth, and to put data, not really to put data in those things. We'll do just a little bit of that. But really to see how do I administer this thing, keep it up and running, flying straight and level without smoking and shaking and all that stuff. So that's what SQL Server is in a nutshell.